Okay, welcome back. Last time here we uh, got some files into Unity. So let's just dig right in. Uh, Share my screen. Great. And here we go. So we have this scene from the Polygon asset pack. It's the town. And then we previously we updated the materials to be universal render pipeline. That was easy enough. And we added our player character object that has the camera attached to it, etc., etc. And we got that all working nice. So now what we want to do, of course, is we want to add a character and animate it. Pretty simple, actually. So we're going to use this wonderful thing called mixamo, totally free, and it's online. So we have in our assets folder, we're using Polygon Town. We have the prefabs, and we have characters. And I'm just going to use this one, character mom. And I'm just going to drop her here into the scene. How about here? Looks good. And you see she is in T-pose or Jesus pose, I like to say, but that might be inappropriate in some contexts. So T-pose. And so character mother 01. So what's the first step? First step is, well, we need to start organizing things as always. And so I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call it, guess what? Animations. You can call it anything you want, but I'm going to call it animations. And then our next step is to create an animation controller. So now if we look at mother here, she automatically comes with an animator. But what we need is an animator controller. And now this is a wonderful thing. It is a tree graph state tree animation controller thing. So making it really easy to do stuff like going from an idle pose to run to jump, et cetera, based on parameters. We'll get into that later. First thing we want to do is create, guess what? An animation controller, animator controller. New animator. Now this implies you have many animations in an animation controller, animator controller. And okay, many NPCs will share the same, but maybe mother has some different things from father, and maybe so we're just going to call this one mother. Makes sense. Makes all sense. Okay, so it's mother. And if we open that up, what we get is this. So this is your animation graph. They call it a graph. It's a graph. Trust me. And we have any state, we have entry, and over here we have this thing called exit. Don't worry about that for right now. All we want to do is just get her to idle. So I'm going to create a state, right click, create a state. Don't worry about that other stuff. And we're going to create just an empty new state. You see how it's orange? Because it's the first state that's going to happen when the game starts. So entry, game starts, goes here, new state. Well, new state is not terribly interesting of a name, so I'm going to call it idle, because if I'm not doing anything else, I'm basically idling. We all know that from games. It's my idle state, and now it needs a motion. And I've got humanoid default, swim, take 01, those aren't the ones I want, right? These are just sort of came along and just been hanging around with this project as I've been developing it. We want to create an animation directly on the character, her idle, the mother's idle animation. So to do that, we're going to use the beauty of Mixamo. So if I go here, this is Mixamo, mixamo.com. And we can browse characters, we can browse animations. Let's go browse characters. And you'll see, oh, it already, unfortunately, it already happened. I will redo it so you can see, use this character. Yeah, so you can see it happening. So we can pick a character, do it and we can pick an animation. Now, the animation I chose was, if I go to animations, I chose I'll just go ahead and search for it. Angry. Angry mom, you're home too late. So I can select this animation. It'll load it up. And there it is on the monster. And I can also do sitting angry. But we'll just do it standing angry. Okay, standing angry. So how cool is that? But what we have to do is we can't just download this animation. We have to upload our character so it can then map the animation to the bones that exist inside of our character. So we want to upload a character. Select the character file or drag and drop. I guess lots of people like drag and drop. I do, but sometimes I also just simply like to select it directly. But I have it prepped here already. So in your assets, right? And now this mirrors what you see in Unity. We have a polygon town. We have prefabs where we have our characters, but that's not what we want. We want to go to polygon town, models. So these are the raw models, not the prefabs. And we'll talk about the difference later. But I think you guys probably already know. Characters.fbx. This is what we want. So we drag from models, polygon town, characters, and we're uploading the character. So now it needs to process for a little bit. Pretty quick. Impressively quick, I might add. Just a moment. There we go. So now it's loading. And oh, your first reaction is, this is horrible. Well, it's not, because in the case of this FBX, and it's loading all the models for all the characters because they're all in one file. And this is kind of good because any animation that we create or use from mixamo will apply to every single character that we have in our asset pack. And I think that is actually pretty amazing. Proceed with this new character? Yes. And there the whole entire thing is as a doing the angry animation. So now that we've uploaded it, our character's been processed. Mixamo knows how to export the animation appropriate to the rigging, the bone structure of our character. So we go download, and there's formats, right? That all the FBXs seem to work, but if there is an FBX for Unity, that's the first one I'm going to go for, right? And we do not want it with the skin, right? We want it without the skin because we already have our skin. If I had one of those other creatures, if I just wanted the model and the animation, I would download it with the skin. But I want to download it without the skin because I already have it. You can ignore this stuff. That's just sort of tweaky stuff. And so we download. And we want to find a folder for it. And so, of course, GA3, assets, animations. Characters angry FBX. Yeah, I'm just going to reduce that file name a little bit. Do angry FBX. Done and done. So if we go back to Unity, you see now that we have this angry thing, this angry imported animation. So there's one thing we have to do here because it's an idle, therefore we want it to loop. So if I select angry, we want to go to the import settings and we want to say loop time, meaning that when it gets to the end, go back to the beginning forever, until something tells me to do otherwise. So great, done and done. And then down here, there is an apply, but also if you just jump anywhere else, it'll ask you to apply. So apply your import changes. Boom. Now back here in the idle, the first animation that we hit, the first animation state that we hit when the game starts, we need a motion. And so you see, oh, it's called mixamo. That's what happened. Okay, I don't like that. So let's go back to the angry, where I call it angry, because you can actually download multiple clips into one of these files, which I don't really like. I'd rather see all my animations separately. We want to change this name, the clip name, because we can have multiple clips in here uh, to angry. But I prefer not to have so many things in one single file. And apply thing. Now, if we go to idle, you see, if we go to motion, we have angry. Uh, and so just a little, one of these little foibles, mixamo.com. No, I want to call it angry. Thank you. Okay. And so that's basically all I have to do here. Then I have to look at my mother. So missing runtime animation controller, right? Yes. Well, I want mother. So that's the mother controller. Now this will be for multiple animations. Uh, but this will be one controller for all of her, basically all of her animation states. And then there's one other trick you have to do, which took me a while to figure out, which was this thing here, this avatar. And you see here, when I put these things in, I got this binding. When I initially added the mother controller, I got this binding warning. Some generic clips animate transforms that are already bound by a humanoid avatar. These transforms can only be changed by humanoid clips. I don't really know what that means. Okay, I don't care really. Um, what I see is a warning. This is what's bothering me. This is what I care about. You'll always run into these things where it just says something that you have no idea what it's really talking about. And but when you first try this, it doesn't work, right? So let's just go to the scene and press the play button, just for the fun of it. And oops, come on, my recorder is in the way. There, get the recorder out of the way. There, think, and press play. And if we go to scene, you notice, what the heck is this? That's not what I wanted. uh, and so I spent like a half an hour or maybe even more until I actually noticed that warning message. Um, and so this warning message here. And so then I said, oh, character avatar. Oh, just get rid of the avatar. None. Right? The little button here, none. And then press play. And look at that. Isn't that lovely? Um, why is it this way? It's this way for lots of reasons. There, you will always run into these funny little things that you just gotta try to figure out. I've been doing this for 40 years, and it still took me, a half an hour, 45 minutes to go, oh, I don't want the avatar controller, this avatar thing. uh, and so, but then once it worked, it was just like, oh, magic! I figured it out, and it's so satisfying when you're frustrated, you're working and you're trying different things, and at a certain point, you just want to give it up, and then, oh, that was so stupid, that was so simple, but now I know. Don't do the avatar. Why it always is there, I don't know. It's just the way it is. It's just what happens sometimes. So I hope you enjoyed this, and that's how you animate these characters with Mixamo. See you again soon.